Hello and welcome back to Oswego State University, the Marano Campus Center, and the Al Roker Television Studio for the Season 16 premiere of Laker Connections. I'm Aaron Valentino. He's Brian Rudman. Brian, look at where we are.
Yeah, we're back in the Al Roker studio. This is much better than staring at the computer screen.
Oh my God, so
doing
much
Laker
better.
Connections in our bedrooms last year, but it's all good. Let's get right into it. We start tonight with This Week in Laker Sports. Aaron and I recap all the results, stats, and highlights from the past 7 days in Oswego State athletics. Aaron, there were 6 big points up for grabs last week for the men's soccer team. Why don't we start there?
Yeah, let's start there. Boy, have I missed looking at this camera. Getting started with some men's soccer as the Lakers had 2 conference matchup last week against the Brockport Golden Eagles and the Knights of Geneseo. The Lakers were able to beat Brockport by a final score of 1-0 after a goal by Ryan Young, but fell to Geneseo by a final score of 2-1. The Lakers are now 5-3-4 and 3rd in the SUNYAC Conference. So Brian, what do we see from the men's soccer team this weekend in these 2 conference matchups?
You know, I think what these 2 games told us is that this team needs more offense. This offense just wasn't there this weekend, and it's a real shame because they were in both of these games and they had a shot. Look at Friday, the 1-0 win against Brockport. They didn't register a shot on goal until Ryan Young netted the game-winning goal. It just wasn't there, and thankfully their defense held up all game long and they were able to get it done. But then you go to Geneseo and you get smacked in the face by Geneseo. You're down 2-0. And you don't score until the 85th minute. The offense wasn't there. If this team's going to go far, what we saw this weekend and what Coach Kane saw this weekend is that there's a big need for offense on this Lakers team.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they got the job done against Brockport, but I bet they're kicking themselves for losing that game against Geneseo by a final score of 2-1. You don't want to lose to a team that's behind you. Overall, I think you got to feel pretty good about where you're at. You know, you're in 3rd in the conference right now, which is, you know, better than what they were 2 years ago. And they still got 3 big SUNYAC games left, so you have to feel good about that. The offense has to come around, though. You're right. It can't just be Ryan Young. They did just get Slater Bushin back, which is going to be huge for them down the stretch against teams like Oneonta, against teams like New Paltz, and against Cortland, who they're going to be facing this weekend. So overall, I think you feel pretty good about where you are. You're getting Slater Bushin, you have Slater Bushin back, and you're going to be looking forward to wrapping up these conference games in the next 2 weeks.
Listen, took 3 points from the weekend, would have liked 6. Moving now to the women's side. It was a rough week for the green and gold as the Lakers dropped all 3 of their contests this week to fall to 5-6 on the year. Oswego was unable to gain any points in their 2 SUNYAC contests, falling to Brockport 2-1 and Geneseo 4-0 before losing a non-conference game at home to Hamilton on Tuesday by a score of 3-1. Aaron, a really tough week for this team. What went wrong?
Yeah, I mean, it's a similar situation with the men's soccer team, right? They haven't really figured out a way to score the ball during this stretch and really overall this season. They've fallen out of the SUNYAC playoffs because of this 4-game stretch, which is a little bit scary. Anytime you're falling out of the playoffs, especially in a tough conference like the SUNYAC, there's a bunch of teams, playing a bunch of games this year. And you look at their last 4 games, just 2 goals scored in the last 4 games. That's not going to get it done. They've allowed their opponents to score 10, so it's like a little bit over 3 goals for games. And of course, they are 0-4 as well. So if I'm the Lakers, I'm looking to get a little bit more aggressive on the offensive end. You have to score to win games, and that's exactly what they need to do. And on the defensive end, play back, stay back, and, clear some balls out so you can get it to the other side of the field.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing we saw and the biggest problem that we saw from this team over the weekend is when they went to Brockport, they actually played a decent game. They won that game in the midfield. They outshot Brockport 8-3 in terms of shots on goal and 11-8 overall. They had more corner kicks. They had more opportunities. They just didn't net it. And then the biggest problem, they only allowed 3 shots on goal, but they surrendered 2 goals. That can't happen. If you're winning the game in the midfield, you have to win it in the final third as well. That just can't happen. And then you look at the Geneseo game. It was a close game in the first half, but 4 second-half goals. Geneseo dominated that first half. They just couldn't net it, and then it paid off in the second half. So this team, you really need to improve. Looked good against Brockport, but just couldn't get it done.
Got to score to win games, folks. That's how sports normally work. Moving over to field hockey now, as the Lakers had one conference game against who else other than the Knights of Geneseo. The Lakers fell to the Knights by a final score of 1-2. 1-0, but bounced back Tuesday versus the Nazareth Golden Flyers, as the final score of that one was 6-0. Oswego is now 7-6 on the year and 6th in the SUNYAC. Brian, what do we see from the Lakers this past week?
Well, you look at the Geneseo game, it was kind of just a slow-moving game. Not much happened. It was 0-0 going into overtime. We were broadcasting the game here. We didn't have many replays to play because it was just back and forth in the midfield, and not much happened. And they were surrendered that penalty late, and that was just a heartbreaker. But listen, credit to them, a great job bouncing back and getting the win against Nazareth on Wednesday. But look at this team overall. When they win, they're dominant. When they lose, they're getting blown out of the water. We'll take a look at the full screen in a second. But at the end of the day, this team just has to get better, and they have to play more competitive. You look at that, in wins, they're outscoring opponents 45-0. They've only won when they shut out opponents, and in losses, they're getting outscored 18-7. And you look at the shots, that when they're winning, they're dominating. When they're losing, they're just not getting the job done.
Yeah, what a bizarre season.
It is weird
for the Lakers. I mean, you're winning, and you're winning at a rate that's insane. You know, you're outscoring your opponent 45-0 in your wins. I don't really know what to say. They're scoring 4 goals per game, which is second in the SUNYAC. They're not letting in a lot of goals. They're third in the SUNYAC in that regard. You have to win conference games, though, in order to make the playoffs. That's unfortunately how college sports work. That's how the SUNYAC works. So you have to play well in these conference games, and they really need to focus up when they play these conference games. Focus up like you're playing a non-conference game. Be aggressive, and score the ball and win games. All right, we are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, it's time to take a look at the week ahead for Oswego State Athletics. Don't change that channel. It's Laker Connections on.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Welcome back to Laker Connections on WTOP 10. It's now time for the week ahead. Brian and I will take a look at the Lakers schedules for this upcoming week and let you know what to expect out of Laker athletics this week. Brian, let's get it started.
Absolutely. Well, we start with what might be the most interesting game this entire week. The men's soccer team will play host to their Central New York rival, the Cortland Red Dragons, the same team that knocked them out of the playoffs in the SUNYAC in penalty kicks 2 years ago. Cortland comes in as one of the more dominant teams in the conference with a record of 5-1 in conference play. Aaron, it's a big matchup for the boys this weekend. What's it going to take to win?
Yeah, here we go. We got a good old-fashioned battle of Central New York between the Oswego State Lakers and the Cortland Red Dragons. This is going to be a fun one, folks. This is a game where Caleb Munsky and Brian Terra need to get everybody in the right mindset. And also, this is a game that has been on their minds for 2 years when they lost in overtime in the SUNYAC playoffs by not 2, not 3, but 1 penalty kick.
It took extra penalty kicks. Extra round of penalty kicks.
It took an extra round of penalty kicks. You look at their history versus Cortland. It's not pretty. 6-51-5 is definitely the number that stands out. And they haven't beaten Cortland since 2006. They haven't beaten Cortland in regulation since 1994. So this is a game that they've circled on their calendar. It's a game they circle on their calendar every year. This is a game where Brian Terra, Caleb Munsky need to get in the right state of mind. They don't score against Cortland, 0.65 goals per game in their history. So again, we talked about Slater Bushman in the opening block. Getting him back from injury, he's going to need to step up and be able to score the ball. Ryan Young, as well as somebody that is going to be able to score the ball. Again, we sound like a broken record, folks. I'm sorry. But both of these soccer teams, especially the men's one, if they want to go far in the playoffs, need to score the ball.
Well, here it is, folks. Here it is, boys. This is the one you have circled, like Aaron said. This is the one you've been waiting for. This group has never beaten Cortland. Coach Kane has never beaten Cortland. This is the one you want. This is the revenge game. Cortland's been historically dominant. If this team is going to win this weekend, they have to play a perfect game, can't let anything slip, and when you get your chances, you have to execute, because that's what they've been missing this entire year. They've had their chances. They just haven't put it in the back of the net. They just got to finish. Finish, 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 and you win the game.
Finish, 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 score, score, score. Now, sticking with soccer, the Oswego State women's soccer team will take on the Cortland Red Dragons on Saturday at 1 o'clock in Cortland. Cortland is 6-4-2 on the year and currently sits third in the SUNYAC. The last time these two teams match up, the Lakers lost by a final score of 2-0. Brian, what are we looking for out of the Oswego State women's soccer team? I got a feeling you're going to say score the ball.
Wow. It's almost like we're friends.
Yeah,
it's almost like we're
almost like-
roommates
it's
and we
almost like
hang
we-
out a lot
yes.
and we have very similar thoughts.
Yes.
But yeah, score the ball, and it's going to be the two-headed attack of Liz Myers, and Gracia Madden. Those two have been dominant. They've accounted for over half of the Lakers' goals this entire season. So if you're going to score the ball, you want to look to your two big players. And Madden and Myers, both in the top 20 in scoring in the SUNYAC, and that's what they need to do. This team's gone through a rough patch. There's no denying it, and they're playing a tough Cortland team that comes in 4-1-1 in conference. Like you said, they're third in the conference. You've got to play a really good game, and you need your stars to step up if you're going to win these games.
Madden and Myers, M&M, folks. What do we think about that? Yeah, these two girls need to step up and score the ball this weekend. It's going to be, if they get those two working on the offensive end, this team can beat a lot of teams in this conference. They just haven't been able to quite figure it out yet. Yeah, another great battle of Central New York. It seems like a lot of these SUNYAC conferences go through Cortland. This is going to be a theme throughout the show this year, folks. So yeah, M&M, Madden, and Myers score the ball, and you can have a little bit of success.
Yeah, listen, a lot of things run through Central New York. Now to the courts. The Oswego State volleyball team will look to turn the tide in conference play this weekend when they host Oneonta on Friday and New Paltz on Saturday for Senior Day. The Lakers will go into the weekend 0-5 in SUNYAC play in desperate need of a win. Aaron, this team has struggled. What's it going to take to finally make it happen in conference this weekend?
Yeah, you know what's so funny? You said desperation time. That's literally what I wrote in my notes here.
Yeah.
It is desperation time for JJ O'Connell, and company and the girls over there at Max Seal Gymnasium. Yeah, they probably got to win out to make the SUNYAC playoffs, and it starts this weekend with these two conference games against Oneonta and against New Paltz. This is where it all starts. Remember 2 years ago, Brian, when we talked about the Oswego State volleyball team and how much success they had when they won the first set? Well, they haven't really done that all year. They need to start doing that. They need to set the tone of the game. They need to set the tone of the game and play volleyball at their place. They've only won 2 sets this year in conference play. They're being outscored in sets 15-2. So again, it's all about playing your game, and it's all about getting the ball rolling to start this one for the Lakers.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at it right now. It's on your screen. They've really struggled in conference play. They're 0-5. They've lost 15-2 in terms of sets. But at the end of the day, they got a chance. They play 3 out of the 4 bottom 4 teams in the conference left on their schedule. The other team is themselves at 0-5. So Oneonta, Plattsburgh, Potsdam, all chances for them to get wins. And you're absolutely right. If they have any chance to make the playoffs, which they still do, if they win out in the SUNYAC, they still can technically do it. They need a big win against Oneonta and an upset against New Paltz on Saturday. Give themselves a happy Senior Day. That's exactly what they need. It should be an interesting matchup. We have to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere, because when we come back, it's the Wheelhouse Wire as Aaron and I preview the men's hockey season. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Laker Connections on WTOP 10.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie. Nailed it.
We all of warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on, man. Let's put a ride home.
And welcome back to Laker Connections on WTOP 10. Folks, it's finally here, hockey season, and it's time for the Wheelhouse Wire as Aaron and I break down this week's matchups for the Lakers hockey team. Aaron, the Lakers start off exhibition play with a tough matchup. Why don't you get us there?
Yes, thank you, Brian. The Oswego State Lakers will take on the Utica Pioneers in their first exhibition match of the season. When the Lakers last saw Utica, they were the third best team in the country and were on their way to the NCAA tournament before the world, folks, turned upside down. The puck drop for this one is at 7 o'clock in the newly named Deborah F. Stanley Ice Arena. Brian, what can we expect out of Lakers in their first preseason game of the year?
Well, Aaron, let's be honest. There's no grace period this year like there was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, folks, if you remember, they brought in a juniors team, Travis Broman's old juniors team, the Carleton Place Canadians, and absolutely had a day. They won 9-1. Derek Brown had a hat trick. They were absolutely dominant. There's no such grace period this year. They're starting it out about as tough as you can get. They're facing the Utica Pioneers, a team that year in, year out is in the top 15. They're always ranked in the NCAA tournament. They're always in the Empire 8 tournament finals. And on top of that, Utica also played last year. You take a look at Utica, they played last year, so they have a clear chemistry advantage going into it. Right? This Oswego team is going to be behind the 8 ball in every way going into this game. But you look at it, what Coach Gosik's looking for, it's how his team plays. He knows this at the end of the day. They win or lose, this game doesn't count against you. So at the end of the day, he just wants to see improvement from his team.
Yeah, I talked to Coach Gosik today, actually. And you know what he said? I asked him the question, you bring in the Carleton Place Canadians 2 years ago, you bring in Nazareth 2 years ago, 2 teams that they beat up on in years past. And I said, why are you bringing in Utica this year? What was the thought process going behind that? And he said, well, folks, in order to be the best, you got to play the best. And there have never been truer words that have been said from head coach Ed Gosik. Yeah, this is a preseason matchup where you want to get your feet wet. You're going to be seeing the competition that you're going to want to face in the NCAA tournament for sure. Travis Broman, Alex DiCarlo, this is going to be a real chance for them to signify that they're going to be the dominant force in this Laker offense. I just can't even believe that it's been 2 years, a year and a half,
it's
really,
crazy.
Since the hockey was last played in the Wheelhouse. It's got a brand new name, brand new stuff going on in there. It's super exciting. But yeah, this is a game where they can really establish themselves across the NCAA. We're going to talk about the preseason poll a little bit later. I know they're not feeling too great about being behind Geneseo. And a game like Utica, even though it's a preseason game, if you can go in there and establish early on that you're a force to be reckoned with in the NCAA, I mean, that's going to be really huge for this team.
It is a great opportunity for them to reestablish themselves and put themselves back on the map. Now taking a look at the SUNYAC Conference. The men's hockey preseason poll got released by the conference earlier this week. To nobody's surprise, the 3-time defending champs, the Geneseo Knights, are ranked number 1, and for the 3rd season in a row, the Lakers are ranked 2nd heading into the year. The arch-rival Plattsburgh Cardinals, ranked 3rd following a semifinal exit 2 years ago. Despite the high ranking, Coach Gosik knows that they don't matter unless you perform. Now, Aaron, at the end,
see how things pan out and how teams come together. We'll see how this whole pandemic has affected us, but it's a, I would say it's a popularity vote at this time of year. You have to earn what you get, and you're as good as your last game.
Now, Aaron, Coach Gosek obviously isn't putting too much weight into these preseason polls. He knows it's all about what's on the ice. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, boy, that's quite the statement from Coach to start the year, isn't it? A popularity vote at this point in the year. Here's the deal. He also said in that quote that, you're only as good as your last game. What was their last game? Does anybody know? I'll tell you. It was a loss in the SUNYAC championship to the Geneseo Knights by a final score of 4-1, and they came in second in the SUNYAC. Therefore, in the preseason poll, they are ranked second. It is going to be a little bit different this year. We don't know. We don't even really know who has what or how many transfers each team has. We don't know, what play styles are going to be different for each team. It's going to be interesting to see for sure. I mean, this is pretty standard. Geneseo, Oswego, Plattsburgh, any order you put those, I think a lot of people would be happy with that as long as those three are in the top three. Here's the deal. Geneseo is going to be really good. I think they're a force to be reckoned with. I think this Oswego State team is going to be good. They're expected to be good. They're good every year. Plattsburgh, been a dormant volcano, folks. They've dominated this conference for a long time. And the last couple years, they haven't been that. They're a dormant volcano waiting to explode, so watch out for them this year as well.
Yeah, listen, you're right. Plattsburgh leads the conference in conference championships. So historically, they've been the greatest program, and it's my belief that this year, after a year off, no season, the teams with the best history and the best recruiting are going to be the best teams, and that's Geneseo, Oswego, and Plattsburgh. Those three teams, I think, are going to be at the top. Geneseo and Oswego have been the dominant forces the last few years, and Plattsburgh has a bunch of returners. You remember when they came to the Wheelhouse? It was like
bunch of freshmen.
It was like most of their forward lines. It was their first ever away game, and they had to come here for whiteout. I kind of felt bad for them. Yeah. That was a rough one to go for, but it'll be interesting to see how things go this year. All right, folks. Coming up, it's time for Laker Showdown with Jake Johnson, new Hall of Fame class. Which current Laker could end up there with him? All that and more coming up on Laker Connections. Stay tuned.
You quit smoking and thought, that's that. But here's the thing about lung cancer. By the time you see the symptoms, it could be too late. But now, there's a new scan that can detect lung cancer early when it's more curable. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News.
Total, Baldwin faces 32 charges.
Saturday, I went to Woodchuck Saloon.
Too much temperature change.
1310 meteorologist.
2 as well. Visions from Tanner Smith.
Go to 2-1.
2 with 6 and 10 on the year.
One in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. That means it could be you. Your barber. Your barber's barber.
Nice work. Thanks.
With early diagnosis, pre-diabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Good evening and welcome back into Laker Connections. I'm your moderator, Jake Johnson, and it is time for your favorite segment. It's Laker Showdown. 3 questions will be asked to decide the winner of Laker Showdown. Brian's already 1-0 on the year. Let's get started.
Preseason win.
Head coach Ed Gosek announced that Stephen Kozakowski will be starting Saturday night's game against Utica, and then he will move to Eric Reed in the second period and end the game with Richie Perrette in net. Stephen Kozakowski ended his sophomore season in net, and with no junior year, he's looking to leave his mark in net for this team. So going forward, do we think that it's Kozakowski's net to lose, or will Green and Parent prove their worth and take over net for the Lakers? Aaron, you start.
I got to go with Koz, and here's why. In a year where everybody is going to be looking for how much experience you have, and the more people you're bringing back, the better. Koz is one of the few players, guys, that they're bringing back. You look at Koz's overall stats: 6-2-1 in his career, 1.88 goals against average, a .924 save percentage, which is really good. 208 saves last season, and he came in the middle of last season at a point where the Lakers were really, really struggling. And he came in and he kind of flipped the script on the team. He breathed life back into the offense, almost like it seemed like the defense looked like they wanted to play in front of him. I got to go with Koz. They need experience on this team. They're only bringing back a couple of guys, and I think Stephen Kozakowski is the man to be between the pipes for the Oswego State Lakers.
Listen, this Saturday, yes, it's going to be Kozakowski. He's the senior. He's the obvious choice to go this Saturday. But at the end of the day, when it comes to October 29th against Hobart, guys, nothing's guaranteed. Coach Gosick has showed us in the past he's not afraid to go against the senior. He's not afraid to go against the guy who has the history. He's not afraid
look at how good he
to
is.
go with the hot hand. That's actually what he likes to do. He's going to go with whoever he thinks is going to give him the best chance to win on game day. He's going to go with whoever's performing best. So listen, if Eric Green comes out and he has 2 phenomenal preseason games and he's practicing well and he shows Gosick what he needs to do at the end of the day, he may have it.
I'm going to have to give the point here to Aaron. I think Stephen Kozakowski is the guy for this Laker team. Next question. Oswego State announced 7 new members in their Athletic Hall of Fame. David Locascio, Richard G. Kohler, Thomas Fitch, Bob Hagan, Catherine Carbonaro-Rozak, Maureen Kasparek, and Brendan Edward Brian McLaughlin. They will be inducted in the Hallowed Hall on Saturday, November 13th at 6 p.m. That brings us to my question. Out of the current Oswego State athletes, who do you guys think is the most likely years down the line to be named in the Athletic Oswego State Hall of Fame? Brian, I'm going to let you start on this one.
It may come as a shock to some people that I'm not going with a Lakers hockey player. First of all, congratulations to everyone who's getting inducted. That's a huge honor, so congratulations to all of them. Second of all, I'm going with Ryan Enos, member of the Oswego State baseball team. First of all, they've been the most successful team that Oswego State has had since we've been here. Most conference championships. They've been the most dominant, most NCAA appearances. This guy has been stellar for the Laker baseball team. He's been a starter since day one, multiple SUNYAC championships, and let me just list off his achievements. I have them right here. He's been selected to the All-Region team twice. He's been selected first team All-Conference twice. He's won the SUNYAC Elite 20 Award, which is for given to playing at the highest level, both on the field and in the classroom. He's hit a walk-off home run in a SUNYAC championship game. That's 344. Are you kidding me? Obvious.
Guys, here's the deal. There's only one answer to the question, and his name is Travis Broman. The man has done nothing but amazed since stepping on the Marano Campus Center Ice Arena, now the Deborah F. Stanley Ice Arena. He's got more points than anybody on the team right now in 50. He could be Oswego's sweetheart, as Cam Berry once was a long time ago. Travis Broman is so skilled, so much fun to watch out there on the ice. Everybody in the town.
Aaron, I'm going to stop you there. For me personally, it's got to be Ryan Enos. He has done so much for this Laker baseball program. Not saying Broman hasn't, but I give it to Enos. Final question, 1-1 here. Oswego State men's soccer is in their final stretch of games in the SUNYAC. Starting this Saturday against SUNY Cortland, then next weekend, they close their season with SUNY Oneonta and New Paltz. Brian Terry was just named SUNY Oswego Athlete of the Week. My question to you guys is, which player on this team is the most important going down the stretch for the Lakers?
All right, we're going to go quick here.
Yeah, I got to go Caleb Munsky. You need your captain to step up in this type of situation, and that's exactly what Caleb Munsky is. They all bond around him. They all go around him. They all look to him for leadership. And this whole mantra of, we want to win a SUNYAC championship, that's the goal, that's the standard, that's where we want to be. Caleb Munsky started all that. So that's exactly who you need to play well right now. Caleb's a leader on and off the field. He's constantly communicating with his teammates on and off the field. I got to go with Caleb Munsky.
All right, I'm going to keep this simple. We talked about it earlier. We got to score. Oswego's got to score. Slater Bushin scored. He's played in 5 games, scored 3 goals. He's already won 2 games for this Lakers team. At the end of the day, in order to win, you got to score. Slater Bushin gets the job done. Easy answer for me.
All right, guys. I got to give the point to Brian. I think offense is key. You talked all about scoring goals, and this is the guy that scores your goals. It's Slater Bushin. Brian Rumman wins Lakers Showdown.
Good win for me. That's all the time we have for today. Hockey Night in Oswego returns this Saturday night, 6:30 pregame, 7 p.m. puck drop, folks. Catch it right here on WTOP 10 or listen to our friends on WMYO. Countdown to Face-Off starts at 6 p.m. for Aaron, Jake, our entire crew. Thanks for watching. We'll see you this Saturday night in the Wheelhouse, folks.